Today, across the country, people celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a civil rights activist who fought for equality, voting rights, and desegregation. Tonight, people came together in Sioux City to honor Dr. King's push to promote justice with nonviolence. KTIV's Nathan Price shares the story.
Nearly 200 people filled the Briarcliff University Chapel for a celebration honoring the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The celebration, sponsored by the Sioux City chapter of the NAACP, was filled with music and speakers, including the keynote speaker, Dr. Shirley Mays, a law professor at the University of South Dakota. Much like Dr. King, Dr. Mays says she enjoys the chance to speak to those who may disagree with her, as it is a way to bring about peace.
I hope that we're not just singing to the choir, in the sense that everybody here has the same beliefs and thoughts. I hope that there are some folks here who maybe be a little skeptical or may want to learn something new and different. And so I'm hopeful that we can reach out beyond those who are here.
The theme of the event was Mission Possible, building community, uniting a nation the nonviolent way. Monique Scarlett, the president of the local NAACP chapter, said that mission is necessary.
It's extremely important that the Sioux City NAACP is always hands-on and that we continue this legacy, we continue the message in our Siouxland community as our nation continues to grow. We also have to make sure that we continue to hold each other accountable and do things in a very non-violent way.
Scarlett says we should strive not only to live Dr. King's dream, but to put the message into action.
Celebrating Dr. King's legacy is understanding the message of love and compassion, understanding that we still have to educate, we still have to love on one another. There's a time and a place for everything. This is the time and urgency of now, that now is the time to stand on what's right.
In Sioux City, with Chief Videographer Acacia Killian, Nathan Price, KTIV News 4.
And on this holiday for many, it's a day of service in honor of Dr. King Jr. He was assassinated April 4th, 1968.